All right, we are back with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. And well, last time we left off on a bit of a not quite a cliffhanger, I'd say, but you know, it was a bit of a weird, and it was a bit of an ending spot that left me wanting. Oh, forgot to turn the game volume on. Oh, there we go. And well, I wanted to see that part through today. Might, in the long term for this week, end up switching some time slots around because I don't want to do like every other day for Great Ace Attorney because I want to, savor it. But I do think we are going to have a special occasion where we do 3 of these streams this week. So, yeah. We'll see what comes of that. Might do it Saturday. Might still do it on Friday, even though I just said what I said. But, it's whatever. How about we get back into the case, because we're about to go into the trial for the return of the great departed soul. So how about we get in there and see what's going on, and see what's what, see what's happening in this trial. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now, here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Hey, buddy.
Damn! Mr. Naruto!
Good morning, Professor Hairbrand.
I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me.
I feel it every time I'm here. That gravity.
Well, this is Britain's highest court. But you're telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure?
I think it's probably all in the mind.
Ah, yes. Well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruto? I'm counting on you on today's trial to save my life! To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public!
Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident.
Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail!
My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You, Peter, have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Oh? Oh, it's Erlock, okay. Mr. Sholmes! I didn't expect to see you here.
That's very mean, Runo, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Is it? Are you? Herlock Sholmes!
Indeed, sir. I am he, Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Ah, yes, Rand's magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This first installment was sublime. Your introduction in the adventure of the Silver Blaze was wonderful.
Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall.
No, that was the Speckled Band.
Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh, I have urgent business at Madame Tispel's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? Yeah, the week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve this case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description.
Well, you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley.
Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say.
Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely, I totally understand.
Is someone a little starstruck?
I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain. Oh, why, thank you. Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. I need you to get me a copy of Bambi on the... No, stop right there. I already have one. Oh, thank you very much. What's this about, though? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition was quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? But how could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding, in fact, succeed? That's contradictory. I mean, that's what we do best, point out contradictions. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now, I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Whoosh. Woo. There he goes. Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Runo, but chin up, you can do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? You've helped before, haven't you? I know, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. It's gonna be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous.
Counsel for defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once.
We're on our way. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to the case. Let's get in here. I didn't get a good look at the jury, but it looks like there's some returning faces, some new ones.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Hairbrain. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready.
The defense is ready, my lord. I'm 6 months out of practice, and what's more, I'm without Sasato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? No, that's just the casual racism of Great Britain.
So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odie Usman. Mr. Usman was really known fuck. I'm a bit out of practice myself, actually. He was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zeeks. The jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals were prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on the 21st of October, Mr. Osman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Osman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Hairbrain. Very well, then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are you six ready to fulfill your societal duty? Damn, look at this crusty old guy. I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Who this? To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly. It sends shivers down my spine. I'm running out of unique British voices. I might just need the pedal back into normal, just acting stuff. Look at this dude. Look at this dude.
Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all or nothing more, and performances.
Any spurious scholar that defiles the reputation of science deserves to hang!
We have to listen to what's on both sides of the fence and, then settle on one. That's it, isn't it?
Oh, fuck, it's you.
It wasn't like this in my day! It wasn't like this at all!
That's that blue hedgehog again, of all places. No, the police killer Automo look-alike again, and he's as exhausted as ever, it seems.
Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and as such the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world, will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statement please, Lord Van Zeeks. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord!
It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled.
Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure.
Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking!
Ha, the whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field? I am, and my word on the matter could be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock.
So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible.
What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert
that the accused instantaneous kinesis demonstration is a success.
What?
What's rot? Order! Order! Professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant will be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Osmond's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. Bailiff, show the first witnesses to the stand.
Oh boy. Who is it? Oh, it's okay. Yeah, of course. It's usually always the first one is usually the defendant and Gregson. My boy.
Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at the Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on a duty at the demonstration on the day in question when in charge of the following investigation. Albert Hairbrain, scientist.
You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct?
Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition.
What you demonstrated was incredible, all right. An incredible explosion.
But the science! The science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, that was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success.
Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team.
This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less.
That's right, my lord. It seems the victim rammed straight into it. It was a big old strike, that one.
I see. Well, submit the photograph as evidence.
Ostensibly been beamed to the Crystal Tower. Shows an apparent stab wound to the chest. Oh, did it? I wasn't looking then. I was just looking at the man's funky glasses. Oh shit, yeah, that's a stab wound. Damn, this magnifying glass kind of useless though. It can't really even like get a good chunk of something in it. Oh well. Anyway, let me see the people of the case, by the way. Interesting how Sasato's here when she's not, you know, here. There's an apprentice. He has an air of a completely unassailable man. Albert Hairbrain, 33. He's the defendant of this case, my friend Lawrence Van Zeeks. There's Gina, the beloved detective inspector. She's really making waves. Tobias, of course. And Esmeralda Dispels. Museum of Waxwork and the Lathes in the Light of Arson's privy to the secret dispel technique of capturing a perfect likeness. Okay. As the court heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Osman. There seemed to have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting him aside for the time of being, he was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself.
I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct?
Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration?
That's right, that must be it. My splendid machine, my poor splendid machine.
You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Oh hey, you're saying the full name this time, yes? Don't push it. The prosecution's making me do it.
What? The wreckage? The wreckage?
But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simply, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness?
What? So sorry, me?
No, your neighbor.
Yes, sir, it was a murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with a complete certainty. What? How could he possibly think that?
Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder.
The corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck.
I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That's all. That was my mistake.
But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp, right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it.
An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Seems a bit like overkill. Meh. Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge.
And the coroner says the death would have been all but instant from a wound like that.
You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused.
I I guess technically yes, but no, he didn't kill him. That's what we're here to prove. But whoever did it killed him twice. Yeah, we could say that. I guess that's one thing we could say.
No. That couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. Okay, the victim stood himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beamed instantaneously to the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away.
The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window. My word. One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then.
I am so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident, a terrible accident.
Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you.
No, I'm not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying?
This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel.
The autopsy report of the victim. His neck was broken from the impact of a violent fall and he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object.
I should probably examine the evidence again.
I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance.
Okay, that's nice and all, but, okay, yeah, we've examined this article about, the compatriot and the Lunar Crystal Tower thing. The Reaper attacked. It's the kingpins and the criminal underworld generally managing to escape conviction in the Reaper's trials. This isn't the first time their henchmen have tried to attack Lord Van as a result. It makes you think, if that's how the justice system works in London, then there must be dark forces at work. Okay, yeah, we couldn't check that before, okay. Mysterious contraption. I wonder if there's anything we can actually investigate on this fucking thing. Oh, wait. Anything? No? Okay. A curious device found behind a tree, almost as if it had been hidden there deliberately. Okay. Yeah, can't really be anything on this either. Neat that they even modeled the ones that don't really have any points of investigation, though. There's scorch marks at the edges of diagram showing the relative positions. Photographer printed with beam. Let's look at that autopsy report closer. Nationality, British. Coroner Courtney Scythe. Have we gotten the coroner's name before? That seems odd that they haven't done that before. Also interesting. 2:20 p.m. Hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. A broken vertebra, most likely resulting from an impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. Wait, what was that again? Sudden fall from... Okay.
And the only other person on the stage of Mr. Osmond was a disgraceful excuse for a scientist.
Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him.
Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well, counsel for defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while.
The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck.
Yeah, we can observe that from the autopsy.
I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projected, that's all.
That was his mistake, but no, was it his mistake? Because it exploded, didn't it? Although we don't have evidence to prove that is the thing. But that's what the Reaper said. Wait, did he? I saw the thing explode on the diagram, but did he say that? Hold on, I can actually check. As a machine, there was a larger... Yeah, he said that, but we don't have evidence for that.
Hold it!
So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally?
Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out.
Only you got it wrong, didn't ya?
Ah, yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake.
Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I should try bluffing. That's a good trick.
I took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened.
Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Osmond was wearing at the time, I suppose.
Crackling comments. The answer should have been 3.
So much for safety first. 3 must be for safety third. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. Yep. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. Pierce the heart. Yeah, okay. Makes sense to me. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have. That's what's getting me. The fact that before he went anywhere is the thing that's getting to me. Hold it. Let me press that. What grounds do you have for saying that?
Ha! Do you really need to ask?
He's got his head down. I'm wondering if I should press for that or. Excuse me. Professor Hairbrain, are you hiding something from the court?
Aha! It's 4!
Bruh.
Ah!
Yeah, that's what you get for eating paper. What the fuck are you doing? What was that?
I was calculating the neutralization coefficient of electrical charge required for electrolysis of a human subject.
No, you were eating paper. I saw you.
Listen,
You don't have a scientific explanation for that, do you?
No.
Okay, moving on.
I have to keep the result a secret at all costs, you see. That's why I ate the paper I did my working on.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it just came to me now. I'm sorry to ruin your moment.
No. It's fine.
But now I've completely forgotten the number. Dear me, I have a scatterbrain sometimes.
Well, moments before you ate the paper, you did yell out the number 4.
No! You know it. You know my secret coefficient. Oh dear, oh no, this is bad. Oh my goodness.
Perhaps you could just focus on the testimony. So that's all the testimony I have to work with. I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. That changes everything. Did Von Zieks keep that to himself until now on purpose? To gain the advantage? Probably. Oh well, I suppose all I can do now is press these witnesses for as much new information as possible. Okay. The corpse went crashing through the crystal tower, had a broken neck. Okay. Made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There's a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp. Okay, press that, I guess? The defense knew nothing of the crucial information.
The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense.
Sarcastic and insincere? Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object?
Among the accused tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This.
Oh, right! You all confiscated that for me, you fucking little shits!
There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew!
Andrew, of course. Because it's shaped like an A. Ah, that's cute.
Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all of my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family.
I won't judge, it's just, okay.
Andrew's my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead.
Michael,
It's your birthday today.
well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank.
That isn't.
It's blood, beyond any and all reasonable doubt.
No.
And that's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fella is completely consistent with the victim's wound. What?
Order! Good luck harassing people. Nobody's here.
The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence.
There's traces of blood at the tip and it matches the shape of the victim's wound. Okay. So one of Professor Harebrain's tools is the murder weapon. Great.
Alrighty, so the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and that fella's the only one who could have done it.
How am I? I'm okay. Let me examine that screwdriver, actually. That certainly is blood. Mr. Osmond's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. What's going on at the bottom, though? I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. Yeah, like I said, we had it confiscated, because we can't be trusted with shit. No, there was other reasons, but it's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. Actually, wait a second. A for Albert? Is that why it's an A? No, because the other screwdriver was named Michael. No, it's just a coincidence, okay? Which could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. What was it? A metal screwdriver that was found poking through the grill means what remains of the kinesis machine. It's a very distinctive handle. Okay. I guess we'll make note of that, sure. I don't know what's going on. All I can really say to like sum it up in a short way is teleportation gone wrong. Oh god. I'll press this again because we have new evidence, I guess. What grounds do you have for saying that?
Ha! Do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd.
The victim, Mr. Odie Osmond, and the accused, Professor Harebrain. We know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive.
That's right, I saw him with my own eyes.
Oh, hey, Ludoggle.
Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body.
In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly...
Hey, what's up, buddy? Excuse me. Professor Harebrain, do you have some information that may be relevant here? I need to make his voice less raspy, I think. It's doing a number on my throat, because I've been doing him really high-pitched and raspy, and that's just killing my, like, voice. So I need to think of a new one. What's up, buddy?
Sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules from the human body.
And the witness stand is the best place for that? It seems as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark.
Yes, that's right. Of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh?
I don't know, but there's no way I could have possibly have stabbed Mr. Osmond, as you say.
Eh?
Explain, please, Professor.
Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins.
I had heard. We all went to middle school science class, buddy.
Then surely you see, if I'd plunged something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. Yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood.
Well, no, I suppose not.
You see? Not one!
True, I didn't see anything like that.
Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Like, oh my god, we actually have a defendant who's actually, like, doing something for themselves. How about that? Nice.
Order! Order!
But what does Lezeeks Van Zeeks think?
Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friends adducing. Here's to you, Albert.
Oh, you're too kind, Barrack, but I'm not really a patch on you.
No, you're not.
Damn. No humility here. No, not humility, no humble. There's no humbleness in this courtroom.
You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility.
I have?
A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound.
Of course.
Inspector, enlighten the court, please.
Yes, sir. Where are they going with this?
Very well, you will amend your form of testimony now, Inspector.
The victim is extremely forgettable. Like, who even are you? Yeah, it's like... Wait. I need to get to the people. How do I get to the people section? It's not letting me get to the people now! Fuck! Can I do it from here? Why isn't it letting me go to the people section? Whatever, I'll show him in a minute. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body while he was beamed through the air. Wait, it wasn't though, was it?
Objection.
You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Can I check out the people now? Yes, okay. Yeah, you take one look at this victim and it's like, okay, big hat, capitalist, yeah. That's it. That's all there is. Everybody else is great though. Every other character in this case has been great. I mean, well, I can't really say much for him because I don't know who you are or what you're doing. You were here for like 5 minutes total. But like, you know, my gal, Manuela Fire Emblem, you know, all the other good members of the cast. You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal?
Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding.
It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend.
Yes, I believe we had a bit of a grapple with that in a previous case. Right.
Even on your side of the world.
Oh, every time he makes like a little racial slight, I'm like, I'm gonna throw hands with this man at some point. Yes, but about this screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage.
What?
It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson?
Well, now that you come to mention it, yes.
Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravene the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act?
No, not at all. Please, stop making us say the full name. We could just call it the Act and save so much time.
No, we must go through the formality.
I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing. Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What did you get to that? If this tool had been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. That's right. It should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Osmond. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest.
Order! Order! How do you explain this, Inspector?
I don't,
Is it my responsibility to explain?
Yes, it was your statement. It looks as though everything the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well.
You...
This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Yeah, it's weird. Like, we say it didn't happen, but like, there's enough evidence to support it did, and it's a bit. All right, time to tighten the screws here. Okay, that was in poor taste. No, that was in poor taste. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zeek stopped. Lemon grab? Oh no, it was you, okay. Do you have something to say, witness?
Yes, I knew it. It bears out the equation's hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry.
Also, that hold it, I'm just saying, that also could have been a really good, like, prosecutor pain / ouchie voice.
About what? Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency.
What?
Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Osmond's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations.
What? I feel like he's digging his own grave there. Oh! It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Like that bottle back there. My bad. I'll send somebody to go clean it up later. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? Just when I had found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists, man. I don't get this science shit. Very well, the defendant will testify again. Provides with the scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold.
In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord.
Audibly gag when I saw Chase got you trying to say tell me his fucked. Oh yeah, no, I've heard about that.
I'm sorry, kid. You cried Undertale music. You're going in the penis box.
What the fuck? How do you get people to do this shit? Cause I know somebody got like one of the Bubsy voice actors to say some weird shit too. How do people? I guess like Fiverr or whatever is a thing, or whatever it's called now.
To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states the kinesis cannot transport metal, though, hence the metal weapon would have stayed put.
Cameo, yes, that's the name. That was where I remember fucking. I think it was Solid Snake's voice actor doing one of the Vine Sauce jokes. I forget which one though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put.
In other words, the point is just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Osmond was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together.
Okay. Anybody gotta speak up? No! So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency. And therefore, Professor Albert Hairbrain could still have been the killer.
My great hypothesis holds, you see.
Buddy, you are literally digging your own grave. I'm not sure if you're a genius, an idiot, or both. Probably both. Based on what? Oh, right, your hypothesis.
We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason.
I was not addressing you, witness.
Professor Hairbrain,
Yes?
whose side are you on here?
I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No.
You should when it's your life on the line, buddy. God, centrists. Shut up, Pari. Shut the fuck up.
My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all.
Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Then you can cross-examine these
Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know what I'm doing. How am I more chaotic when I don't have a drink than when I do? To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal, though, hence the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Osmo is the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Hold it! How did you come to know Mr. Osmond in the first place?
A year ago now, a small provincial science journal published a little paper about my work.
Damn, you weren't kidding with small. Look at that shit.
That's a scientific journal. Good gracious, I should need new spectacles.
I might have had an extraordinary hypothesis and great promise, but at the time I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at a tiny little cafe and drink watered down water out of a tiny little glass. But Mr. Osmond read the paper and came to visit me in my tiny little laboratory.
Offered you money to help fund your work.
Exactly, that's exactly what happened. I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Osmond provided me with an engineer for the practical.
Nice.
And the three of us produced a fantastic machine together.
The machine that you brought to the Great Exhibition to demonstrate.
We had to apply the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed for the exhibit, I think. I didn't understand all that side of things. Mr. Osmond took care of all of it. He was a wonderful man. Really, I owe him everything. Now I only have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together.
When you say you built the machine together, does that mean you were involved in its construction? I mean, he had to be, right? I mean, if he was making the formula for it.
Yes, well, not exactly. I'm not good with the practical side of machines myself, so the physical construction was done by an engineer.
Little remains of your creation now, though. Following the explosion, repair will no doubt be impossible.
Yes, I realize that, but still, if someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. Mr. Osmond and I toiled over that machine for so long, we put our hearts and souls into it. I have to protect our work. So what's left of the machine must be kept safe. It's only fair because what happened was an accident.
I guess. That's the extent of the testimony, then. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him doing any more damage. He's already basically proven that he could have been the culprit. Although I will say, jury is being much nicer today than usual. They have not one of them has said that we're guilty yet, that he's guilty yet. But it seems as though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Still, I wonder, what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data. Kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. I'm just gonna press everything, I guess. You seem to be pleased by that.
Yes, another example of my hypothesis holding true. But I said some sarcasm, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you not pleased?
No. Oh, Naruhodo.
I knew it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Osmond losing his life. The advancement of science is no excuse, I know that.
No, you're quite right.
Tell the court, did you have a close relationship with Mr. Osmond?
Oh, well, no, not really. I mean, I only met him 2 or 3 times. And we only ever discussed my hypothesis and the project. And the research grant, of course.
All right, we did 4 and 5, so let's just go here. Cannot transport mail, hence the weapon would have stayed put. Your hypothesis states it, so this isn't proven then.
No, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis. But a good one, based upon thousands of calculations. Based on what I just said, thousands of calculations. It is widely known that metals can't be decomposed by
Electrolysis? Electrolysis? I always forget how to say it. Hey, Goog. Hey, Goog. How do you pronounce that shit? Doesn't say. Oh, God. Okay, definition, motherfucker. Give me the definition. Motherfucker! Fine, I'll go onto a different website. Electrolysis. Okay, thank you. I'll go with that, I guess.
Yes, of course, so I am right. My hypothesis is entirely correct.
What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy? I don't know.
It's the whole reason that the birdcage is made of wood, you see. Meh.
I don't know what that meh was for. I don't... Sorry, the birdcage?
Yes, that's what I call the sea obtusa cage, in which Mr. Asmo was placed for the kinesis.
Okay, nerd. What does that mean?
Ah, the jail cell in which the victim was detained. It does indeed seem made of a timber of some sort.
I'll thank you not to refer to it as an instrument of incarceration, your lordship.
In short, any weapon lodged in the victim when he was beamed away by kinesis would have been left behind on the stage if it was made of metal. Correct?
Yes, that's it. Yes. It all fits perfectly within the mathematical model.
The ultimate conclusion, then, is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict this fatal injury, is it not? Ah, indeed, sir.
Someone beam me out of this nightmare.
In other words, the point raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all.
Okay. Mr. Asmo was a patron of research. Without him, it would have been impossible to have a duty to protect the incredible machine. That's the extent of testimony. Thank goodness. He really cares about defending that hypothesis, huh? He really just. Okay. Still, I wonder, what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? Hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal, hence why the metal weapon would have stayed. Oh, I'm a dumbass, aren't I? There's metal on this bitch, isn't there? Somewhere.
Objection.
Professor Harebrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct.
In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like to pay attention to the victim's face. Yeah, the glasses with a little doohickey on it. You can clearly see that Mr. Asman is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. Also, there's nothing that, like, there's the handles that go on the ears, they aren't there. How do they stay up?
What? Metal? No, metal cat. That's not metal? No!
We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should have also predicted that the metal rim spectacles would be found in the same place. Hell yeah.
My hypothesis!
Professor Harebrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed.
No!
Order! Order! Counsel, what's the implication of this?
If, on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit.
My hypothesis is sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work.
If I could say something here, in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, juror number 4, go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide, and it's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science.
What? Wait! Great Scott! Are you suggesting my science is suspect?
It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud.
Bounder? God, he really is white. What the fuck does that mean? Alright, bounder. A dishonorable man. So you mean a bitch? Charlatan is funnier than fraud to me. But there's also bounder.
I say the wreckage of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined.
No! Never that machine is against my entire hypothesis! I'm not scientific equipment act!
God, his face is so angular.
What the devil is that after that all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule?
I need to think of a better voice for him. I need to think of more unique voices, but for the time being, that's his voice. I don't like the way it seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Square.
Objection.
Professor Harebrain has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even still.
Even so, what?
Going to such trouble and to expense to create a fake machine to display, he would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. If the government was foolish enough to have deemed this man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed.
Conspirators? What would be the reason or the value of such a grant? 10 pounds?
You're an order of magnitude out, madam. 500 pounds a year!
Oh, you could live handsome on that much for years!
The Society's noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations on the field of science recently.
Bogus? Are you sure you're British, sir?
And plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you.
Either he's not actually British or he's Super Macho Man's grandfather.
No, I haven't deceived anyone! Least of all the government! My hypothesis is sound, the science is sound! Please, you must believe me!
No matter how unbelievable his hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment
Was a success.
Ah, Barrick!
and therefore, the only person who could have possibly committed this murder is the accused.
Oh, Eric. Where's this heading? I have no idea.
My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What will be the nature of their involvement? They were spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition, who were occupying special seats.
Eyewitnesses?
Very well, the court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. The prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no pastiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend,
Oh, yes?
it's time for you to make your own stance clear.
There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me?
We should take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes.
I know it's bad to just realize this now, but I'm realizing the voice I'm doing for Van Zeeks. At any point, I could just whip out the die. and it would not be too out of place. Anyway, let's continue with that trial, eh? Buddy, you need to stop incriminating yourself, okay? You got a problem. You got an addiction to the science, but I know, that doesn't mean you should incriminate yourself.
But Mr. Naruhodo, what on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, you've been picking holes in it from the start.
Sorry about that.
But you promised me. You said you'd prove that Dragon Explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. All you've done so far is try to undermine me.
Yeah, I did make you a promise. You're right. I said that I believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there?
But if I just run through some equations, yes, you see, it's because my work is incomplete.
Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he?
Oh, no! You're right. You're so right. It is all my fault. And I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster. Not just as a scientist, but as a human being.
Well, that might be a little over the top.
And while we're on the subject, what about Barrick? He's being awful.
Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean?
He's a disaster. Not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but no, wait. He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore.
Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you?
Yes, what?
The machine and the demonstration you prepared, they were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume? There was no trickery involved?
I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with the firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it.
All right, Professor, I understand.
Counsel, defendant. The prosecution's witnesses are ready to take a stand. Court's about to be in session again. Make way in the courtroom, please.
The bailiff voice changes every damn time. I can't hit a consistent note with it, but honestly, I feel like that makes it better. It all hinges on that demonstration. The professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims. It leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. A practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. Yeah, he did say that. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? Alrighty.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord.
As is the defense, my lord.
So, Lord Van Zeeks, I believe these next witnesses saw a demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes. Indeed they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we are about to hear could be considered highly reliable. Oh, is it she? Are we gonna get she in here? Perfect, a detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witness in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally.
Who the? Ah, yeah, it's she.
Witnesses, state your name and occupations for the court to hear.
Oh God, where do I even begin with this voice? Is his hat actually powered by hot air? What the fuck? Is that a hot air balloon hat? Oh yeah, Poke, you weren't here for it, but yeah, Gina got a job as a detective now, so that's cool. Good for her. Good for her. We love to see a girl boss winning. Anyway, God, what kind of voice?
My name is Balthazar Loon. I am
The impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity of the Experimento stage.
Oh no. Oh no, Hana's gonna murder me if she ever watches these VODs. Oh no! Oh Christ! Oh God! Well, time to do my best.
My name is Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund Ormstein. I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective. Even Sherlock Holmes agrees. I was on security at duty at the exhibition, and I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing.
Gina, again. But she did mention that she'd seen a disaster from up in the balloon, actually, didn't she? And so she clearly loved every minute of it.
There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage where the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold from the skies above. You make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 30 feet. Very low.
Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can ya?
60 feet, about 18 meters then.
Thank you for your introductions. Now, give me your formal testimony, please. Just get on with it. Can you describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage?
What is with the badge on this kid?
It was an incidente terrible. It was an incidente terrible? Terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged.
There's this huge bang from the stage, and the next second another bang in the sky beside us. And from amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
I feel like I should be aging down the voice a little bit. Because it sounds like... I'm gonna be real, it sounds like the worst Vine Sauce Joel impression known to man currently.
The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower.
I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower.
A most extraordinary collective account, I must say.
Could I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard of any mention of until now. Phone twitches shit, so I don't know if I got it, but probably. Fair enough. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions.
More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was supplied to the machine for a demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called birdcage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses.
Jesus, that's gotta be, scary.
The birdcage appeared at the side of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower.
I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, I didn't want to miss a scene, so I kept my eyes wide.
What happened to your other balloon, though? Also, are we gonna address what happened to your head, buddy? Are you good?
I still have lots of money.
God, this motherfucker almost threw hands with a child.
Precisely who is this curious infant?
Now, infant might be a bit of a stretch. He's only 11 years old. Bohemian boy. A young boy who came to London to visit the Great Exhibition. His real name is Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund Ormstein. The impresario of short pleasure voyages and flying balloons. Above the experimentation stage, the balloons all belong to this man. Okay.
I'm told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal, in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition.
Ja, I am here in London on a sightseeing trip. It's my elementary school.
Yeah, I need to like way pitch up the voice, I think.
We'll have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony.
Do we really need that?
When I remove my mask, this is what I look like.
Ah, yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure.
Ja, everybody says so.
Great disguise, then.
The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the Crystal Tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Sir Asmund on the stage, could possibly have committed the murder.
Shout out to balloons. I remember when I was 4, a balloon fell out of my hands in the street and I had to be stopped so I didn't run into a car. Yeah, children do dumb shit. I can vouch.
Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please.
Yes, my lord.
It was an incidente terrible. I have changed this voice every single time this man has come on stage. I cannot keep it consistent. What is wrong with me?
There's this huge bang from the stage, and next second another bang in the sky beside us.
From amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. Right. Okay, that checks out. The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the Crystal Tower. I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. Let me rewind. Cage fell from the sky, that makes sense. A cage appeared out of nowhere. You know, it would be good to get another perspective on the bangs, I think, actually. Hold it! So, you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air.
Yep, isn't it amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer is a mug's game. You should join the force and we can go flying together.
You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway. Could you tell us exactly what you saw, you think?
Everything. We saw everything because we were up above it all. That dodgy cove climbing into the cage and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's when it happened. That's when there was that massive bang and the cage disappeared, just like that.
You were describing the moment the subject's body was decomposed by electricity, I believe.
I didn't know what to make of it, but there was another bang right in my ear. I looked around and there was a huge great fireball right next to us in the sky. There's nothing there before.
Huh?
Excuse me.
Master Gots, does your memory of the day differ?
My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name.
Ah, yes, what was it again?
Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund Ormstein.
Just the 4 names then. The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps?
Oh, I get it right, Odo. It's Inspector Lestrade.
Why does everyone have a problem with how I addressed him at the moment?
That is not what I saw.
Oh?
Ja, there was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloons. That is true. But I'm sure... Which is what I said, isn't it? 1 minute there was nothing there, the next a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable.
Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy?
Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky.
Thank you, Toggle. I was trying to think of that for the longest time, but I couldn't remember the exact phrasing. Oh my god, this is in cave full of blood smoking. I'm cave full of blood smoking. God. A green balloon?
Eh? You what? I never saw anything like that. Well, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream like a little bitch.
Okay, I know you're literally a child, but chill.
My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it's a lie. That is not allowed.
The hand throwing is tempting, but he is but a child. I cannot throw hands. I legally cannot.
Playing the bleeding royalty card, are ya?
Well, actually, wait. Does being a royal cancel it out? And best not to pry into that.
Typical.
Says the orphan who likes to remind people that she works at Her Majesty's Police. In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony in the interest of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia. You know how it is.
It was not the skies that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time.
Okay. Fair enough. The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower. Didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. The prosecution really is asserting that the demonstration was genuine. But what if it was actually some kind of switch-around trick instead? That would mean that the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. The two explosions would have thrown everyone watching into a panic for sure. We need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. The incident they terribly bad. Only grateful my balloons were not damaged. There's a green balloon that was next to ours. God, if only we can do the jury thing and pit two statements against each other. Ah! Do I have any evidence, though, that can, like, contradict that? A torn piece of canvas-like material backed with rubber that was found under the experimentation at the exhibition grounds are scorch marks at the edges. Is this part of the balloon? Looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before. While applying Mr. Sholmes' methods, you might have deduced it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really didn't want to get wet. And the charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. Oh, Naruhodo. Let me press first. There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand. Well, I mean, I guess if it was a green balloon and that's a green, like, cloth thing, that should be enough to, like, present it, I guess. I shouldn't have pressed.
Si, all 3 of them, my bellissimi bambini. They are very popular, signor. Some will pay £10 for one ride.
£10? That's more than my annual stipend.
£20 a month. That is my pocket money.
Royals have all the luck.
I got up there for free, I did. Played the old I work for Her Majesty's Police card, you know.
Detectives have all the luck. If they're so popular, why would you only be operating in such a small number of balloons, though?
Because if I have too many in the skies, they could crash into each other. The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area. See? And the zone above public experimentation stage is the most profitable. The other impresarios, they hate me. Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangements for balloon rides at the exhibition. I was going to hear more about what you actually witnessed at the incident.
Right, I can fill you in there, my lord.
Actually, no, you won't. Because I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna go for it.
Objection.
Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of the balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged.
See, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosiones, it would have been terrible.
I wonder if you might know what this is.
I think it's maybe, see, part of a balloon, a burnt piece of the fabric of the envelope.
Sorry, the envelope?
Pardon, that is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with the hot air. It is made from the very thick fabric lined with rubber you do not want to rip when you are in the sky.
It's turning into like a half French, half Russian thing now. God, I need to settle. Jeez, just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, the Master Gods testified a green balloon did indeed explode that day. If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. Oh shit. Also, yeah, that sure is a hat.
If a balloon exploded that day, why didn't the man say so? Maybe everybody on board was killed.
Oh no, I've just been telling old pals we experienced how awful.
Seems to me those things crash 50% of the time anyway.
The instantaneous kinesis did occur. After the explosion on the stage, the point of
You okay, Van Zeeks?
I'm fine, thank you. The point of materialization shifts to a location occupied by a balloon, causing the balloon to explode. Yes, eminently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but changes nothing about the pertinent facts. This I cannot accept! Why not, Mr. Loon? You are suggesting that I am a liar! That person's died in a balloon incidente! There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. Oh, shut the fuck up. You're getting a pity one for it. Was that even the right sound? I hope so. Yes, it was. Okay. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it! Balthazar Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It is not possible. You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day. Objection. But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon.
Oh, what a jolly old loon he is.
I concur, there's clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition.
Ah, grazie, my lord. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. They fell into the ground in esplosione. What a catastrophe.
But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-out bit of cloth was found at the scene, can ya? The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion at the stage.
This stupido ragazzo is mistaken. That sounds, Let me make sure that wasn't some, like, some shit. What does that mean? English. Give me English. Oh, it's just girl. Okay. I was really worried that he was saying I was really worried he was saying like some offensive shit, and I was like, oh god, I really just said that. No, he just said, it's just stupid girl. Okay, which is still bad, but you know. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway.
So your assertion that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you?
Si, exactamente. Even if he saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it. It's very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia.
If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war.
Oh, shut up. No, shut up. Why'd they have to spell it like that? What happened to all-out war? Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying, but that doesn't change the fact that testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witness's statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes.
Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
As I said, I'm no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers, and one fell to the ground. It'd be a catastrophe. Can't get away from the fact that a burnt bit close was found at the scene, can ya? The cops at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on stage. It's just mistaken, my balloons have the red and blue zigzags anyway. Hold up. Hold up. You mean the color is wrong?
Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse.
And yet, a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon.
Well, I do not know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say, for the sake of... No, shut up. Bad Pari. That a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question.
Why not?
There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Si, exactamente. As the senor says, it's not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is still mistaken about what he...
Excuse me. Is something wrong, Master Gotts?
It's Master Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund Ormstein.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Just something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear over all Bohemia.
You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parent to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments, huh?
Evidence? What is this evidence?
To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance, some tangible proof of what you claim.
Well, why didn't you say sooner? I have the photograph here.
Oh! Good gracious!
What? I not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs.
That is a big-ass camera. I guess it was like the late 1800s, so it makes sense.
On the Crystal Tower, on this Bohemian exhibit, on the street of London, on the hot deal cellar, the balloon.
And the instantaneous kinesis experiment, did you take a picture of that?
Yeah, one picture.
$1. Really? You did take one?
But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in the boring experiments.
Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph?
Of course, and then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. I said I really did see a green balloon. Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young.
I think the shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Sure, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. It's the fault of the stupid person who made the camera.
All of the A's with the little dots over them. That is one very Bohemian-sounding cry. I wouldn't even know where to start pronouncing that.
Very well. The court will accept this photograph as evidence.
A picture taken by Gotts while he was riding a balloon shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took his big shot.
It is not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera.
Let me take another look at that. Oh. Very interesting. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph?
Well, it was on the day of the big explosion.
You don't say.
When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face.
That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred.
Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig.
Lovely language you picked up. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. Young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon. Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility. And it's hard to imagine a man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, the consistency must tell us something. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely, and yet... The defense would like to object to that last statement, my lord.
And I would have to overrule your objection.
Fuck. The defense would have to accept the penalty given.
Glad to hear it. Also, and you would also have to think again.
Judge is very on his bullshit today. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. They fell to the ground. What a catastrophe. Ah, shit, I'm a dumbass. Right.
Objection.
Right track, wrong place. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gods took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but can tell us something else, something crucially important. What? It shows the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers.
Oh, my goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in...
See there, for pleasure, for seeing the view. No. For seeing the view, my balloons only fly with passengers.
Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one... Oh god, I got the hiccups. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon!
I know nothing. Mere day, I can only tell you one thing. If the balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine.
Oh, his hat's going whoop, whoop, whoop.
Objection.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. His hat goes...
There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing.
See the competition trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage.
This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Osmond was beamed from the stage below.
Right, so them scrubs that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks didn't come from the stage at all. It was the bits of the balloon raining down. But because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention.
Mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
It was a ghost. Objection.
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader clearly has nothing to do with the case.
Its relevance does elude me, I must say. The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. Prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded.
I mean, the jury seems bored. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet, though? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? But wait, there has to be more. There's got to be more, right? Right? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait, please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph of Master Gotts may well be hiding one more vital clue.
What's that?
A vital clue?
Objection. We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now.
We'll all definitively beat your ass in a minute,
So tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove?
the balloon's owner, the balloon's color, or the cause of the explosion. Can I look at the thing again? Cause of the explosion. Final answer. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was not my fault.
Evidently, because the birdcage... Oh no, now I'm turning German. Because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignites.
No, that's not what happened.
What? It would appear the photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court.
Why do I give the judge like Smash Bros announcer like voice flair sometimes?
Evidence, Junior.
Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. And what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have, in a way that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is... It's that fucking line, isn't it? But where would I select on that? Just in the center of it?
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon.
Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort.
If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is.
Goodness, what is that? Undeniably some flash of light, yes.
Oh, golly. Do you think it might be lightning?
But it couldn't have been a finer day.
I believe we may be looking at fire.
A bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon, out like an arrow! Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
That's absurd! The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time.
No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen.
Well, what evidence? Yeah, what evidence? If such evidence exists, counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man! What evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon?
A very curious device found behind it. Wait! Oh, fuck. Wait, I've been wondering what the hell this is. Could that...
Take that!
The true nature of the curious slim streak of light is revealed by this.
Curious answer, with a slim chance being the correct one, I feel. It looks somewhat like a piece of firework, whereas fireworks dazzle their audience.
You fizzle out in a remarkably disappointing way. Shit, okay, my bad. I guess I kind of went with my instinct without thinking on that. If it was behind a tree, the light wouldn't have reached it, right? Wah, wah. Insults dressed up in colorful metaphors are still insults. Anyway, this firework display isn't over yet.
Such evidence exists, counselor. For goodness sake, present it, man.
Which evidence? Wait, did I examine it, though? That might have been my downfall. I didn't examine it, did I? But there's nothing to examine. That is such a slim fucking thing. Damn it. Can't believe I missed that. Because I examined it earlier and it was like, oh, there's no points of interest here, Pari. But no, there is. There's some sort of lever here. Ah! What the? What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. Crossbow. Turns out it's a folding crossbow. Well, that ought to do it.
Take that!
This is your daily PSA for myself. A PSA for myself, as a reminder. Pari, always examine your evidence as thoroughly as possible. This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil and sent to light could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon.
Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately...
Blimey, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it?
Then the explosione of the balloon, it was
very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow, igniting the hydrogen gas inside of it.
No!
Ugh. Yeah, that's right, bits suffer.
Order! Order! Counsel, this is an extraordinary supposition.
If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge, of course. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently.
Well, yeah, if someone had shot a gun off of the exhibition grounds, it could have caused a real panic.
With the big explosione, there was a very big panic anyway, no? I don't like this. I should be pleased I found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? If the flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. If the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued...
What? Wait a minute! What are you really saying here, eh? I don't get it. What, was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all, or what?
My goodness me! Now I understand. That's what this sinking feeling is about. Ryunosuke, please, explain. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. Ah, fuck.
Ah, shit!
Did I just hear that correctly, Council? There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Get their asses, hell yeah. Good grief!
Objection!
This is ludicrous! What you described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. And in my case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that?
If I may put in a word as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3. All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Osmond. And having this other man appear on stage to front the show as a body double. Ah, yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Osmond must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon from the start.
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture.
Not necessarily. Explosion force of the balloon gas very much would depend on the mixture ratio.
Juror number 4. Damn, the jury is good this time. Like, they're not immediately saying, oh, guilty, 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 fuck you. They're not like being like weird about things. I don't think there's anybody who's like been in cahoots with the crime. They're just like helping. They're helping us with like, you know, statements and shit. Yeah.
Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered.
Of course, my favorite juror was still Juror 3 from Case 3 because, fuck cops. Because Greatest Attorney said fuck cops, but this gang's pretty good. The mixture ratio.
Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible.
So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. If we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Osmond, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. Duh. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time. That's right. Let's go. This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrain is a suspect now. Hold it. Oh. Oh, hey. You had a hold it voice clip though. Oh, for dramatic effect. Okay.
Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Professor?
But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please.
Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Harebrain?
I, Albert Harebrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Osmond.
Fuck!
Yes, it was me with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver.
What are you doing? Order! Order! Defendant, explain this sudden confession. Professor Harebrain, what are you talking about?
It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis of my precious machine.
But you're innocent, man. You could die.
You stand there and claim it was all a trick and all an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, then it would be all over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it.
It's clear that you drew the plans, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor.
So just let me, I can prove. Barrack!
Yes.
I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say, I swear it. So please, ensure a special deposition for scientific equipment access here to and protect my creation.
Oh, this is bad. This is really fucking bad. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify defense's position in light of the accused's confession. Okay, bitch. Okay, bitch. You wanna go? You wanna throw? Get the fuck over here, motherfucker! God, I can't fucking. Fucking sassy piece of shit. I can't. Do you intend to formally assert the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? I hope you like that. I hope you like that bit. I custom edited that fucking combo together. Do you intend to formally assert the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? It might have been a little loud though. I might need to fiddle with that. Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuinely and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved.
Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter?
Professor Harebrain, my client, actually asked of me was prove that the explosion on stage is an accident to protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. There's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request by see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind? Okay, that's it. Round 2, motherfucker. Get over here.
Mr. Naruhodo.
There's no escape. I just have to make a choice. But it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something. But what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact...
I'm gonna save. I haven't saved in like an hour.
No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on? Is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Ah! Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. When did you get back? Come here, give me a hug. Sato-san! But, hiya! Ah! Oh, my first Sato takedown in 6 months. There will be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. Ugh. Okay. Professor Harebrain.
Yes?
Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too.
Yes, of course.
And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Osmond. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. So, you finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say?
Barrick?
Lord Van Zeeks?
Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing. Something I've remembered that's of relevance.
What?
On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow.
I beg your pardon?
Tell us more. Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like?
Tall. Taller than me, and thin. Thinner than me, with straight hair. Straighter and wider than mine.
Straight white hair. Lanky boy.
I'll see, one less lens than me, a monocle. A rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well.
Oh?
After all, he's the engineer who built my invention.
Oh?
What?
What? Yeah, what? He built the machine?
That's right. Mr. Osmond introduced me to him a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber.
Enoch?
Trevor?
Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered.
Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination!
Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear.
I should just go full Waluigi with this guy. He has the mustache and the chin.
Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either.
Who on earth is he?
I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascals after the government's research grant money.
When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before.
The man is both an engineer and a magician, yet we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you.
Shit. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, is it nothing more than a grand illusion?
Considering what we just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that it all sounds increasingly likely.
Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted.
Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume.
I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want to see that happen. I knew that if I had nothing more than a trick than a work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, it would be over. I was terrified at the prospect.
So you really had no idea then, did you? What the true nature of the machine that was built. And the nature of Mr. Drebber.
I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it.
It's entirely possible that Mr. Osmond and Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring research grant money. Shit.
When I announced my inventions to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything more.
Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Act?
Yes. Please, go ahead.
Let's go! Took us 2 hours. But we did it. We got through to him.
I'm very sorry.
Now we can investigate that shit. God. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zeeks, my lord. The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Drebber. Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for the defense.
Yes, my lord.
When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning.
Woo!
Mr. Naruhodo!
Yes?
I'm so sorry! I was wrong, you were right, I tricked you, you trusted me, I dragged you into my mess! How did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry!
Did you really have no idea, Professor? Well, Mr. Drebber was really up to, about what he was really constructing?
Naturally, that machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it.
Alright, in that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands, so we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow.
Well, thank you for doing so much for me.
I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive. Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you, Runo, so it would be a surprise.
Oh, you fucking bitch, give it here!
Well, did it work?
I was surprised, all right, especially when she threw me to the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future?
Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial.
Those poor horses.
I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh,
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm delighted to see you back here in London.
oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you.
Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest?
Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I made one of my most special blends ever just for this occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait.
Greeting people normally is over, break their backs. Susato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time, but despite my elation, our tale is about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Ah, shit! I gotta do the investigation part though, and then we can do the trial part on. I think I'm gonna do Saturday actually. I'm gonna switch around some stuff in the schedule, so there's a bit of space, so I don't burn myself out.
Oh, this room, it's been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. It's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar.
I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you'd left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true.
So, is your father alright, Susie? What happened?
My father? Oh, yeah, Professor Mikotoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why he went back to Japan. Because of the telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever?
That's right. So I was surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy.
I think I wrote about it in my letter to you, but it was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It's quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned.
Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh!
You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan.
Yes, of course, I shall.
And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. About Kazuma.
I know. I'll tell you all that I can.
First, let me look at that goddamn shovel! Let's get back to basics. Thinking back, this spade's been in here since we first moved in, hasn't it?
I'm sure I've told you before, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade, it's a shovel.
No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade.
No, spades are for digging, that's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel.
The great spade shovel war rages on. Ah, good to be back. Oh, hi, Iris. I'll get to you in a moment.
When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely.
The awful trial? Oh, yeah. For the murder of Giselle Brett.
Oh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yeah, since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Runo?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe.
Oh, that sounds cute as shit. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotoba summoned you back in Japan. You said it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
That's right, the very large dog collar we found with the bee emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet.
Why would that be, then?
Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years.
I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. Hell yeah. I decide that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Hell yeah.
Oh, Susie.
That's a very meaningful look Sasato-san's giving Iris there. It's good to have her back. She's the best assistant. God. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about that symposium, too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yeah, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoku have been invited. Oh, right, the judge over there is a name, yeah. Something of an honor, I believe. 6 sexy in London. Shut the fuck up. Why did that get me? Well, Professor Mikatoba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all. Who's the other person you mentioned? The judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency, Judge Seishiro Jigoku. You've met him, Mr. Naruhodo. Last year in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. A terrible trial where you were accused of murder? Ah, yeah. I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Well, since you just said that, we're definitely gonna see that man's face again sometime. Oh, well, anyway, as father was invited to a symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain, too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end, he agreed to me going on ahead. Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Strongheart's put in an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General. The most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Mikatoba know Lord Strongheart personally then? I wonder. Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech about this subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. How trying for you. Giselle Brett. The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Uh-oh. Didn't exist? But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin. And she wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. A front? Who on earth was she then? Miss A. Shin. Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her. Oh, Miss Shin. Okay. Mission. That gets my gears turning a little. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could a woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. And now she's been killed. While all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered, I'm afraid so. Hey, Shin. Who on earth was she? Why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere? Have we? I don't recall that name. And I recall a lot of names, let me tell you. Anyway, let's talk about Kazuma. After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. Oh yeah. I know the truth! I know you had a hand in what went on. And that visiting student's fate! Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know the guy never made it to England. They died on the steamship, and that he'll never...
Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama.
Oh yeah, the 4 names, the 4 funny little names on when they were like listing shit off. That's why I didn't remember. Because it was such a footnote and everything else that was happening, but I really should have like retained it. And what did you learn?
After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been? Well, it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared.
What?
Kazuma's body vanished? Our government tried to cover up the fact, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except Kazuma-sama isn't there.
Did Professor Mikotoba know about this?
Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak.
Oh boy. Well, there's many possibilities here. One could be that they dumped it in the ocean. The other could be something else.
I just don't believe it. What is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Boria were definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear.
The man snapped his neck, didn't he? How would... That's instant death, isn't it? Unless I'm, like, very much misremembering something, I am pretty sure he, like, snapped his neck.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Unless that was a faulty autopsy, maybe.
God, y'all need to stop putting these thoughts in my mind. I can't take it.
Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. You're right.
So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us.
Would he do that? Or...
It's only case 3. Yeah! Yeah! And they're already bringing up, hey, remember this plot point and this plot point? Let's start weaving this web together now. I appreciate that they're doing so, but goddamn, it's a bit much to bear.
But there's no reason why he could have possibly done such a thing. I suppose that's true, yeah. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it. Because if it turned out not to be true, then I'd be back to the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Miss Sasato. I know she's given the idea the thought it deserves. It's Sasato-san we're talking about after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. Poor baby.
I love her so much. Like, there's still a special place in my heart for Maya and all that, but God, Sasato is just such a good... She is so good. And I want to comfort her in her times of need. And she's also just really capable and really cool and cute, and she just balances everything so well. What a good character.
It must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I called it the Hound of the Baskervilles.
But then Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it, and put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it. That thread's gonna have to be resolved too. Fucking hell! There's so much. This game is so dense, in a good way.
So nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie?
Well, yeah, because she's a Herlock stan. I mean, fan.
Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. And you wouldn't tell me how you'd come to know it. Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time.
Oh, shit.
Oh. I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. Oh, what is this track? Hello? It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study, and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, "The Hound of the Baskervilles." What? My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time, but Father came in and...
Sasato, what are you doing?
Oh, Father!
Did you look at those papers?
No, I simply read the label, that's all.
Well, put it out of your mind.
Sorry?
Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand?
Oh boy! But what was Miss Iris's manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea, but when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. Stop going through my gay fanfiction. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions. There was no sign of the big box in his office. Colonel, big box. I'm sorry. This is a very serious moment. That's really all I know about it. I have no doubt that Father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it. But still, I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. Alright. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well.
So you're fully abreast of the situation already. I expect nothing less, to be honest.
I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building this machine that was used to effect this trick.
Yes, a conjurer of sorts by the sound of it. Well known in the fields of science and magic.
Then we need to go out and arrest him.
Well, yes.
Well, he must know the truth behind the case, so I agree we really do need to find the man.
Expose him!
It sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Who's a job for the police, or a great detective.
You're right. Lestrade. I mean, what? Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started right away, I think.
Good idea. Well, best of luck then.
Oh, you're not coming today?
I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. Let me know later how you got on, won't you?
Okay. That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Well, let's move. Oh, we can't go to Zeke's office again. Damn. Just real quick, let me make sure. This blackboard's where Iris scribbles out her latest ideas, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, she seems to have drawn little stick figures all. She seems to have drawn a lot of little stick figures all lined up. Look. Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say. What? Little figures can speak? All your questions would be answered if you only read this month's Rants magazine. So I'm the only one who can't make sense of this? Oh damn, I got an achievement. I guess that's the last one then. Huh, maybe. Alright, let's go to the prison first. Sir? Sir? What's he doing? Oh my! The whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations. And he's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Talking to Zeke in his office is really funny. You're asking about his college friend while intense Victorian music is playing, yeah.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo! Who is this young lady?
My name is Asato Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
No, if only I met a refined young woman like you sooner! None of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all.
Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you.
I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning.
Oh, no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot.
Professor Hairbrain, what have you been working on yourself?
Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to hand.
Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe?
No, actually, this is my autobiography.
Your autobiography?
How I Was Diddled and Fiddled by Albert Hairbrain.
Title needs work.
I found I could represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations.
Really?
I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. It's going to be a new serial publication from next month. Part 1, an odd birth and odd upbringing.
Can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case?
Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled and fiddled by the pair of them.
Please, your phrasing. Oh my god.
By Osmond and by the aloof engineer Trevor.
We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we?
Everything I believed has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Osmond, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even.
I'm sorry it's come to this. There really was no other way.
No, it's not your fault. I want to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public.
No, of course you didn't.
But in court this morning, I realized something.
Oh?
If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong! Logically, it makes no difference if you're aware of it or not.
You know what? He's got a point, though.
Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me.
Oh, Professor.
He believed in me this morning, you know. Barrack did. He believed in my hypothesis.
Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case.
No, Barrack wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it.
Did he?
I think I understand now. Why it was he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution, not even the lawyers.
I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there.
So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barrack, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis complete and utter nonsense.
Yeah, he was surprisingly less hostile than usual.
In that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor.
Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Barrack insisted I was a man of proper science from start to finish.
You think that's why he...
I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul.
But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he?
Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it, yes.
And what about the whole Reaper side of things, eh? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea?
Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start?
I'm sorry to say that does seem likely, yes.
When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused, he was so
Emphatic. I misread that as empathetic. That's what tripped me up.
emphatic.
But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems.
I still can't believe it.
As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic, it probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. But the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception.
All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal, but none of us have any money! We want to do research, but we can't afford it!
I fucking feel that, dude.
Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try and earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. We go through all of that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe.
It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Osmond is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Drebber. Is he an engineer, or a magician, or a swindler?
It was about a year ago when Mr. Osmond first brought Drebber to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine.
But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist?
Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist.
What do you mean?
He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation.
I see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts?
Well, I'm sorry. We only ever discovered the kinesis machine. Nothing else. Although just once, I did visit his workshop.
What workshop?
Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory where he constructed my great machine.
Sasato, you hearing this shit? I am indeed hearing this shit, Naruhodo. Why didn't you mention this before? You know, Drebber's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there. Dum bum 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 bum. So you've been to Drebber's place of work then?
Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty for him to construct a kinesis machine, you see.
Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance we'll find Drebber there.
Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry!
I was more than half expecting that.
You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there.
Yikes. He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then.
The place was incredible! The pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best. A special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. The rope, the bombs. If you wanted it, it was yours, my friend. But I didn't have enough money. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formulae and use that instead.
What do you think, Mr. Sato? You did the machine for your next birthday? I never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card for Mr. Drebber, for example? That was clearly very cautious, Mr. Sato. I'm sure he would have...
Aha! Yes, I do. He gave me this business card at once. It's right here, look. What? Let me see that.
Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you?
Woo-hoo.
Enoch Drebber, engineer. Engineer? I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No? Oh well. I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. There is no address. What's that? Dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Yeah, possibly. He did mention something about the oil Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high quality, and it's impossible to obtain in Britain. That's right, but more importantly, that's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So excuse me a minute. No, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry. I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. There's a smear of oil.
Okay.
Okay. How about we go to Strong Heart before we go looking elsewhere, eh? Oh, hello? Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder, I've never seen her before. Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's great exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrabbling to respond. Lord of Antiques is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time. It's scrap metal now, is it? And yeah, who is this? Who is this girl boss?
Until later then, Lord Strongheart.
Yes, thank you. And she's gone, just like that. Who was that? That was Dr. Courtney Scythe. Ah, the coroner. The esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Osmond. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. You can find her in the forensics laboratory.
Ah, right.
Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. So, he's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. Alright, let's time this shit. 7 minutes, 39 seconds. Let's fucking go. Boop. Okay, let's talk. Forensic investigation team. Okay, what do you know? What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago?
At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the possibility of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. I like the idea, but your phrasing is very... What do you mean? For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. The London scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in the fires of hell. Very apt phrasing, considering what happened to McGilded. I intend to see to it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. I'm not sure if he's going to be the Damon Gantz of this game, but he certainly ain't innocent. I'm gonna say that right now. Dr. Scythe is an extremely reliable coroner. He's clearly got some things going on under the surface. When I officially establish the forensics division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotoba.
Oh, yes, my lord.
Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way to represent Japan.
Yes, that's right. I understand you arrive at the beginning of next month.
Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? Professor Mikotoba, I mean. It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. Oh shit, a third one. Ah! If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago that your father came to Britain.
It was the year I was born. So yes, 16 years ago, in fact.
Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Jigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinner's, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Scythe was also there, as it happens.
Then Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total.
6 years? That's a...
Long time to be studying abroad, isn't it?
I lived with my grandmother in those years.
So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years?
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Oh.
Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away.
Huh? Why?
Well, clearly something was going on at the time.
Lord Van Zeeks? I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zeeks, actually. Heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper.
What? Why?
When his brother, Clint Van Zeeks, was murdered, just after young Barrack had graduated from the University of London and became a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in their court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say wherever Barrack Van Zeeks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind.
Oh my word!
So Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, it's the ghost of his brother? Well, that's a turn. Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Damn, and with 3 minutes and 6 seconds to spare. Oh yeah, Lord Strongheart. Oh wait, we're still going. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then?
None the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently.
Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Scythe's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing.
Thank you!
Being able to look at it is better than nothing.
And I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. No, we still have 2 minutes. Time's up. Okay. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls.
We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord.
I have important matters to attend to in preparation for a symposium, you understand. Alright, well in that case, let's go to that new location, the forensics laboratory. I want to talk with this girl boss.
Oh, shit. Is everywhere relating to the fucking government looking fancy as fuck over here?
I believe this is it. Dr. Scythe's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose. There's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too.
Looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you become, Mr. Sato. We just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. What is there to look around at? There's these books, I guess. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers are really very skilled, aren't they?
Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo?
Mrs. Sato.
You can tell I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case. It's how I cope! I'll be sure to remember that from now on.
What about over here?
I suppose this is Dr. Scythe's desk.
I would not like to work in a place like this.
It's very tidy, though, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Imagine how efficiently she must work.
Lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes, and the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you as you work, which is definitely bad for the nerves.
Well, yes, those are valid concerns, I suppose.
I could just about cope with a one-eyed Daruma doll watching over me, but that's all. Oh wait, the book has a different thing? Okay. Look at this big, thick book here.
Oh, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but one entry seems rather strange.
Really? In what way?
They're buying 500 scalpels every month!
500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses.
I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in special circumstances. And scalpel blades can be sharpened, too. It does seem a bit strange. You're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all of them for? What are you doing?
Hi, we weren't doing shit. we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so...
So you thought you'd snoop around? That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Osmond's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed.
They really popped off the character designs. Yeah, there's characters personality-wise I'm not huge on, but like every design just slaps. God, they have not missed once.
When we're done, you must leave immediately. So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene, The victim, Mr. Rhodey Osmond, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Osmond who appeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, without question, one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
But that can't be right.
If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see, if two people who looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared were the same person. The fingerprints of the scene make that quite evident.
Ah, fingerprints.
They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system, but one day, they will be used as an investigative aid for a matter, of course. Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Fair enough. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to another. Doesn't clear anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Ah, shit. Mama, what is this? Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? This is a lawyer, dear. Oh. Hello. To meet you. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. I'm Reno Skinora. Mama? Yes. Can I cut this one up? Ah! Just shut. No! What? I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Yeah, about the same as any other person. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can see very well. Boring. I think I just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse. Let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Jesus, okay, let's go to that experimentation stage, Jesus. Powerful energies from her. Yeah, she's something that we'll probably learn about later. Doggy! When did Gina get a little doggy? I had no idea there were so many people in the world. I know what you mean, it's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point.
Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice.
Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometime, Mr. Naruhodo.
There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Oh, no, wait, it's Luigi! Oh, Inspector Gregson! I see you're hard at work as usual.
Warm greetings to ya. I do hope you've been keeping well since the last we met.
What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning.
Not to you, Sunshine, the gentlewoman so loyally at your side.
Oh, why thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice.
He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more.
Alright, well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi! Get over here, Regina.
Let her play with her funny doggy. Seems to be busy playing with a puppy, probably giving it a traditional East End training.
Gina? She's a police officer now?
Amazing, isn't it?
She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely.
What do you mean?
I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Oh no, really?
That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you gonna be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along.
Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is.
Oh, France. Huh. Interesting. To France?
I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley.
Oh, okay. But France, it's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there?
That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. Now don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted.
But you'd have to learn like a whole other language and like... Trust me, I know how that works. I mean, I know how much of trouble that is, I mean.
I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go.
What? You're taking Gina to Paris? No!
Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'd become of her?
I guess, but I like her. I suppose he'd worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, right, because she was innocent in the case before. Right. She still hasn't gotten what's coming to her. If that really is a thing. I'm starting to think it's not really a thing. Considering, you know, Natsume and now this. Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it?
Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me?
No, of course not. Yeah. I gotta keep that diving diva safe and sound. Until all of this is over, at least.
Oh, did you just call me a bloomin' diving diva again?
So you heard that, did ya? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here.
Alright, you heard the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now.
I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you got a new dog, have you?
Yeah, look at him. Isn't he great? Toby's the name. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable.
Toby is like also Gregson's first name. No, that's Tobias, but it's like short for Tobias, though. I love the puppy, though. Very cute. Yes, the dog does seem lovely. But it's a not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Alright. Let's get... Why did it flip? Wait, that usually happens when a topic changes. We haven't had the chance to talk. Okay. Gina. We were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
Yeah. I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here.
Yeah, Toby.
Woo! The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind... sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Odo yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? The Special
Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it.
What are they called again?
The forensic something?
The forensic investigation team? Is that what you're thinking of?
That's the one, yeah.
But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted?
I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with ya. You're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other, as far as I know. Well, about that. What was his name again? Lord Strange something or other. Not sure it's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart. Oh, yeah. Apparently he was always watching the time or something. Actually, we just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. You what? You met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him, he waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling.
Tragic.
Well, Lord Strongheart gave us permission to examine as long as we don't touch anything. Oh, yeah?
Honestly.
All right then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So, you still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine.
It really would be tragic. All right then. Them's the stairs.
Off you go.
Lord Weakhart. Lord, got him.
Yeah, got him. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Gina. It was great, wasn't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and Odo's made things hard for me every single time and all.
Just doing my job, Gina.
Watching someone else get in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix.
The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yeah, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though.
It's the boss I feel sorry for. I sent him off to do the impossible.
What do you mean?
He's supposed to arrest that other cove, ain't he? And in time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer, what's his name again?
Mr. Drebber. Adolf Drebber?
That's the one, yeah.
So, police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be.
It's putting too much on the boss if you ask me. He says it's giving him a gut ache. Oh dear, I do wonder if that actually isn't all from the fried food.
So, Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enos Drebber. I wonder if they've had any luck.
He's really funny looking. Got 2 eyes what don't match. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it.
Who?
You know, that scowling reaper what's always glugging down glasses of that blood-red plonk.
Plonk. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks.
He always had it in for me, that cove. Don't know what he's all about, scowling about, mind. Probably would have been a pretty good boss, as it goes.
She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-glugging demigod, you're equally badly off with both.
I don't know. I think personally, I like Gregson.
He's just sometimes put in tricky situations that require him to be a little rough.
I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Let me put that one to bed. Ha, rough, because the dog is also named Toby.
Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding the fishy engineer. But there don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck.
There's nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all? Where did you find that little mutt then, Gina?
Oi, don't be so flaming rude, Odo.
Slight overreaction, don't you think?
He ain't no mutt, alright? Toby's, how do they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective.
Sorry?
I've given him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you.
More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he?
Ooh, so he's a police dog, is he?
The police recruit dogs now?
I've heard they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all.
I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that, haven't.
Ah, that's nothing compared to this little fella, Odo.
Oh, really?
According to what the boss said, Once Toby here's got a good whiff of your drawers, he can chase that scent to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean, you can swim? Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point by a rather wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Odo, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in the future. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Xena, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby here's Britain's first police dog. I found him down in the East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out on the street. There you go, I knew she'd left him in from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. She really is the best. Wait, I have an idea. About this, Gina. Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I know A to E, so if it ain't too much bleeding trouble. Oh, actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. Eh? How come? Just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. Turns out this is very high quality French machine oil. It's a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say! Let's have a whiff then. You sure? I don't smell nothing.
No, we didn't mean that you should smell it.
Oh, right. You mean Toby.
Yeah! Get that dog. He sense the smell so good he can track people over the oceans, can he? Professor Hairband informs us that this oil is unique to Drebber's workshop.
I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby can lead us to Dodgy Cove's workshop? That's right, that's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that.
What? Wait, when did you... Oh, it's a pickpocket.
If I can lead everyone to that Drebber's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yeah, Gina.
I'm sure you'll be promoted. Go girl boss, hell yeah. Poor Gregson.
Right then, Odo, leave it to me.
Sorry?
We're gonna get going after that Dodgy Engineer Cove right this minute. Oh, but hang on, someone's supposed to be on guard duty here at the time.
I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation, Gina.
Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets it in the neck, it'll be the boss.
Poor Gregson again.
Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent, have you? Come on then, boy. See you later. I do hope the scent leads them to that swindler's workshop.
Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before a dog swims across the channel to France. Alright, let's go up the stairs. These stairs lead up to the experimentation stage. Let's go see what we can find out.
Oh my, so this is the machine. That was used to deceive people into thinking that instantaneous kinesis had taken place.
Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment.
What extraordinary lengths Hairbrain went to obtain the grant.
No. The professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it.
Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The whole scale of the affair is so very British.
You're right about that. You never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure.
Oh, look. Is that?
Ah, fuck.
Uh-oh.
Lord Van Zeeks?
So I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Miss Sato?
Already?
He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance.
We have permission to be here from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we don't touch anything.
From the top? You mean Lord Strongheart?
Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like.
She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. Alright. I don't think this was here before. This wasn't here yesterday.
Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage that the victim was standing in before he was beamed through the air.
That's right, the bird cage. According to what Mr. Hairbrain said,
It's made of wood.
or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed.
What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I had understood the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished their work.
But sadly, not with the body beside it.
No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but this is too important a piece to have it overlooked. We might need it for a trial. Take the whole ass bird cage. Oh god, no, wait. We actually, though. Oh no. We need to examine it.
Look here. Oh yeah, the wood's cracked and broken a little. Because it fell from such a height?
Yeah, from the height at which the balloon was flying down to a tower below. A fall of about 30 feet or 9 meters.
Leaving the man inside tragically dead.
The base is damaged, okay. Oh, that's it? Oh, there would be a whole lot more to examine here. Okay, wait. Yeah, okay, no, that was it, okay.
What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have twisted and buckled in the blast.
And what they call the bird cage was right in the middle of it all.
But look, Mr. Naruhodo, the metal grill on the floor is always designed to open. It does, doesn't it?
If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the bird cage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight.
I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there?
Hey, bitch. Least approachable man in the world winner 10 years in a row. Yeah. Yeah.
Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you.
Lord Van Zeeks. What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently you Nipponiers are unequipped to read the signs. Sasato, hold me back. I might throw hands again.
Oh, I read them.
So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited.
Well, the thing is, you see, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb anything.
And yet you've managed to disturb me.
Listen, I know that the way we phrased it would include you, but trust me, we weren't including you in this. Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zeeks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this.
Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try.
Are we really gonna ask him about his brother now? Okay. So, Clint, huh?
What the fuck? Why would you say that? Why would you say something?
Listen, I just,
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zeeks? What was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zeeks?
You need police. Oh, fuck. I was supposed to be on guard whenever you're around.
So, you've been to investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that.
Alright, it is a bit like that.
My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zeeks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean?
Professor?
Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry, there's more to it then? Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? You're too kind. Are you gonna tar all new ponies with that same brush next?
So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident?
As it happens, Lord Van Zeeks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tispel's Museum of Waxwork by any chance?
I am, naturally. I believe that since last month, I feature in one of the displays there for public scorn.
Of course, the infamous Reaper of the Bather would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork had been stolen from that place and held for ransom.
A particular waxwork.
Which, wait! You mean?
Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak.
I was unaware of that.
He's turned as white as a sheet. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already?
Surely that goes without saying, yes.
We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Hairbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle.
So,
I was just wondering. I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but we'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, Sasato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns.
fine. Why not?
Oh, really?
I have a photo of the man here from investigation 10 years ago.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck, I'm gonna say it. Gender goals.
Though it appears he had already had that black monocle at the time.
What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us.
We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow. Which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph,
What is it about Lord Van Zeeks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. Sometimes he's our friend, sometimes he's our foe. Has most powerful vibes of anyone in this case. True. Like, just from this old photo, I can tell. Yeah. Oh, shit. Hi. You're here again.
Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you.
Are you all right? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Van Zeek's apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Sato-san can see it too. Lord Van Zeeks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment?
With him? Why?
Kazuma-sama!
Kazuma?
I don't believe it! Your posture, your presence, it can only be... It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. Can it? Can it really be you, Kazuma? It's gotta be a red herring! Right? Wait! Too late.
What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something.
Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why.
But he didn't tell you why, did he?
The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself.
fuck, I don't think it's a red herring. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, shit.
He has amnesia?
Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side.
What?
He's to serve as my judicial assistant, on Lord Strongheart's orders.
He'll be in court with us?
Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course.
Oh, yes, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there.
Sound like a steamboat right now. When Sasato called out like that, it suddenly seemed to hit a nerve. As he called out Kazuma-sama.
You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes. Yesterday, in fact. At Lord Van Zeek's office.
I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us.
I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems.
Well, we could do without that. All right, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mr. Sato. Of course.
Ooh, boy. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber.
I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? I think it's disgusting. I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yeah, it's quite possible he might know something useful. You're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tispel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit.
Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture.
Y'all, this is going to be the most dick punching move I've done in a while. But I think I'm going to cut it here. I don't know how much longer this investigation is going. I'm exhausted and I have other work I need to do tonight. And that shit is just really playing on my mind. I'm just, I think I'm gonna call it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching the show. And we'll be back Saturday, maybe to resolve this episode. We'll see. See you then.